When was the last time you actually disagreed with someone at work? Out loud in the room, not in a Teams message afterwards.
For me, I would say all the time, probably a little excessive.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely an Usama trait. But I feel like most people, myself included, I'm trying to be better about it, but most people tend to avoid the conflict, tend to avoid the friction because it can add, bumps to your process. It can, create difficulties within other coworkers in the workplace. And so people tend to smooth things over and dance around the problem so things can be easier for everyone involved.
Well, I had a friend that we worked together for 25 years, I think, plus. And all the time he used to disagree in the meetings. And I used to call him Eeyore, like the donkey that lost his tail and is always grumpy about it. Funny enough, he was usually right because he would call out the fact that we're missing something, that we're not paying attention to something, but it always sounded like an Eeyore to me.
So he wasn't being an Eeyore, he was actually taking one for the team. I feel like that's kind of rare. I think a lot of the times, especially in like teams meetings, people tend to avoid that because they're scared or like hesitant to lose that social capital, especially when it comes to, raising a problem to their superior, talking up in a group meeting where everyone's going to look at you and people might disagree with you. But I think things can really come from those questions, those pieces of friction, and just different perspectives instead of agreeing with what everyone else is saying.
Well, I think this what inspired this specific episode because we thought that we were going at it. Let's be just candid in this one. We went at it. We went for the jugular. And
Like
the
an
issue
hour.
for me is I wanted a really good episode and a really good discussion. And Sam wasn't sure why our previous agreements are no longer relevant.
Well, I kind of disagree there because I think we did find a middle ground, and what we created as an episode ended up becoming that middle ground where we both kind of stated our points, but we still don't see quite see eye to eye on that. So it's really interesting how we were able to, find some sort of meeting where we would be able to discuss that. But I guess what my question for you is like how can we bridge that gap? How can we, find that middle ground easier? Or I guess there's not easier because you want that friction, you want the necessary conversation. But like how do we facilitate that without like yelling at each other for an hour straight?
Well, I think for me personally, I have to be mindful and careful about my tonality because my tonality, intentionally and unintentionally, could be belittling, which isn't acceptable. And the second item is focusing on the end result is super important. It's very difficult. It's hard to kind of hold back. It's hard, especially when you want to get something done. It's hard to see things from the other side, but it's inevitable. One of the things, the biggest things that are happening because of AI is timelines are getting compressed. And so we're going to have a lot more meetings that are friction full, and there's nothing we can do about that. And so other than to actually learn how to communicate better, how to respect each other better, etc., etc. And I really don't know what the answer is, but I do know that there's a few tricks to it. In the next episode, we're going to go over like what are the dysfunctions of meetings. There's 5 dysfunctions for meetings, and we're going to go through that. And I think as I'm learning that, and we're doing all these different episodes, I'm starting to learn where my deficiencies are and where my gifts are. And maybe that's what you need to focus on. What are your gifts? What are your deficiencies? And when you're arguing, if you're arguing from a place of deficiency, it could be you're reactive as opposed to really stating a point.
And since you were open about your deficiency, I guess I can be open, and I think I could definitely work on the fact that I very much like the rigidity of a plan, and I tend to grab onto that even if things are changing. So to be more adaptable, I think would be beneficial. But I'm excited to get into this conversation a bit more. Thanks so much, Usama, and thanks to those watching. We'll see you next time on Bits.